Every new day is a real opportunity to change your life, but how you start this day is what determines whether it will lead you to success or to more distraction and loss. There is a simple and effective secret that only a few possess: how to make the first decision the moment you feel hesitant. This moment is not just a part of time, but the spark that can create all the achievements, transformations, and confidence you aspire to. Sometimes we wait for inspiration, the ideal state, or the courage that we think will come on its own. But the truth is that courage, positivity, and productivity are not feelings waiting to be born, but rather small actions that you take before fear or procrastination prevents you. Here appears a very simple secret. Only 5 seconds are capable of changing the course of your day and perhaps your entire life. In this book, you will discover how a small and simple rule can give you the ability to control your life. You will learn how to start postponed tasks, face your fears, build self-confidence, improve your health and daily energy, and enhance your relationships with others. Each chapter contains a practical tool, a real-life example, or an exercise that you can apply it immediately to experience the impact of the quick decision on your life. The goal here is not to give you complicated theories or empty promises, but to give you a lifestyle that you can start today. A lifestyle that makes you move instead of waiting, choose instead of staying stuck, and live with greater boldness and confidence. All you need is to make the decision now, because you are simply 5 seconds away from a different life. A life that deserves to be lived with all its strength and potential. Before we start, make sure to press the like button and subscribe, because what you will learn today may be the turning point you have been waiting for. Chapter 1. The first spark. Mel Robbins was in the worst stages of her life. Waking up late every morning, a daily struggle with herself to get out of bed, a feeling of laziness and guilt, and a marriage on the verge of collapse. Even her job, which she was proud of, became distant, as if it were a dream that she no longer had any energy to pursue. She was slowly sinking into a spiral of frustration and procrastination, and with each passing day, the feeling of helplessness grew more. In that dark moment, she did not need long lectures or complicated plans, but something very small. Something awakens her from this stagnation, restoring her control over her scattered life. Here came the idea, a simple coincidence, while she was watching a rocket launch on TV. The countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This small spark turned into a key. The next morning, when the usual frustration overwhelmed her as she tossed and turned in bed, she decided to try 4, 2, 1, get up. She simply got up. It wasn't a miracle, but it was the beginning of the beginning that changed her life forever. From that moment, she discovered that strength is not in waiting until you feel the desire or the motivation comes, because that may never happen. True strength lies in the ability to make a decision in a few seconds before the mind begins to plant excuses, fear, or doubt. Only 5 seconds separate a life lived by procrastination from a life lived by action. With repetition, this small rule became her daily weapon. Whenever she hesitated, she would go back and start acting. Whenever fear attacked her, she would recall the countdown and move. Thus, she began to build her confidence again, step by step, moment by moment, decision after decision. This rule, not only did it save her from laziness and procrastination, but it also gave her a courage she did not know she had in herself. Courage to confront, to speak, to start, to try. From here, she realized that what she had discovered was not just a simple trick, but a practical tool that can change the life of any person if he decided to use it. Thus, the 5-second rule was born. Counting down from 5 to 1, then moving immediately. It is a very small rule, but it carries a big secret. Your mind may stop you from progressing, but 5 seconds is enough to get ahead of your thoughts and regain control of your life. Here the question arises, why does this simple rule work with amazing power on the human mind? What happens in our brains when we go back? And how can a few seconds change the fate of an entire day or even an entire life? This is what we will discover in the next chapter. Why 5 seconds? Chapter 2. Why 5 seconds? Have you ever wondered why your enthusiasm for doing something starts strong and then suddenly disappears in a moment? It is not a coincidence, but rather the way your brain works. The human mind is designed to protect you from dangers, but it does not always differentiate between a real danger, such as a predatory animal, and an imaginary danger, such as giving a speech in front of people or starting a new project. The result is that the more you hesitate, the more your mind starts planting doubts and fears to stop you. Here lies the power of the 5-second rule. When you start the countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you are tricking your brain in a simple way. You are engaging it with a new mental process that prevents it from entering the loop of overthinking and blocks the way for the excuses it makes. What happens in these seconds is like pressing the reset button. The mind loves rest and hates effort, so when you think about doing something difficult or different, it immediately starts reminding you of everything that could go wrong. You will fail, you will look stupid, it is not the right time, do it tomorrow. And if you listen, you will stay where you are. But when you move within 5 seconds, you will not give your mind a chance to build this wall of excuses. The secret to the rule is not in the numbers, but in the speed. You are simply shortening the distance between the thought and the action, and the shorter this distance, the less powerful the fear and laziness are. Imagine that you have an enthusiasm light that suddenly lights up, but its battery does not last more than a few seconds. If you don't take advantage of the light immediately, the darkness will return again. The beautiful thing is that the rule does not require supernatural energy or special preparation. It is a tool at your fingertips that works anytime and anywhere. Just count from 5 to 1 and move. Don't think too much. Don't wait for a magical feeling of motivation, because motivation will often not come. Action precedes feeling. This is the truth that many ignore. With repeated use, you will notice that you are no longer a prisoner of your mood swings or fears. You are the one who holds the reins of initiative. Every small decision you start in seconds will build new confidence within you. You will discover that life does not change with grand plans alone, but with the small moments in which you choose to move instead of retreating. Here we come to the practical question: how can the 5-second rule help you with the biggest enemy you face daily? Yes, it is procrastination, that voice that always whispers to you, "Not now, do it later in class." Next, we'll reveal how to break the procrastination cycle and reclaim your time in life in just 5 seconds. Chapter 3. Breaking the procrastination cycle. Procrastination isn't just a bad habit. It's a clever trap your mind sets for you. It starts with a simple thought: "I'll do it in a little while." But that little time turns into hours, then days, and sometimes months. And while you're procrastinating, tasks pile up on top of you. Your heart is burdened with guilt and frustration. The result is an endless cycle of thinking without action and intention without accomplishment. The 5-second rule is the weapon that breaks this cycle. When the idea comes up, I should start. Don't give your mind a chance to invent excuses. Start the countdown immediately. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. These simple seconds are enough to put your foot on the road before laziness or fear takes over. Take a simple example: getting up quickly in the morning. How many times have you pressed the snooze button and convinced yourself of an extra 5 minutes? But those minutes drag you into a slow day full of laziness. Try counting down from 5 to 1 tomorrow, then get up immediately. It may seem trivial, but it is the beginning of a small victory over yourself. With repetition, you will feel that the morning has become yours, not your enemy. Another example: responding to emails or pending calls instead of postponing them for hours because you are not in the mood. Try the countdown and open the first message. The surprise is that you will often discover that it was not as difficult as you thought. The first step is always the hardest, and once you start, the rest becomes much easier. Procrastination does not go away with words or wishes, but with practice. Therefore, train yourself daily to use the rule in the simplest things: washing the dishes, starting an exercise, opening a book, one line of your work. Do not look for huge achievements, just focus on breaking the mold. True success begins when you conquer a moment of hesitation. With time, you will notice something amazing. The more you use the rule, the less the power of procrastination in your life. You will realize that you are no longer a slave to waiting or mood, but rather a leader capable of making decisions at the moment. This transformation will give you new confidence and restore your sense of control over your day. But breaking procrastination alone is not enough. There is a bigger battle awaiting you, confronting fear. Many of the things that we postpone are not only because of laziness, but because they require courage. Here comes the next step. How does the 5-second rule give you the courage to face and move despite your fear? This is what we will discover in Chapter 4. Courage in 5 seconds. Chapter 4. Courage in 5 seconds. Fear is a natural feeling. It is a survival instinct that has been implanted in us for thousands of years, but in our current time. It is no longer only associated with real risks, but it has begun to rear its head in the simplest situations. A speech in front of a group of people, an idea for a new project, or even an important phone call that we postpone repeatedly. Most of what we fear today does not threaten our lives, but it threatens our comfort. This is where my 5-second rule comes into play. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite its presence. Here lies the beauty of the rule. It gives you a very small moment to jump before fear paralyzes you. When you start the countdown, you do not wait for fear to disappear, but rather choose to move before it, to precede your hesitation by just one step. Imagine that you are invited to give a speech in front of others. Your heart is pounding, your hands are sweating, and your mind is screaming, "Withdraw before you embarrass yourself." If you listen to this voice, you will miss the opportunity. But if you start counting 5, 3, 1, then stand up and speak, you will discover that fear disappears the moment you begin to act. The same example applies to requesting a promotion at work. How many times have you wished to speak to your manager, but you delayed it for fear of rejection? The countdown here is the bridge between your desire and your voice in 5. In just seconds, you can open a dialogue that may change your career path. Even in personal relationships, we need this courage. Apologizing, admitting our feelings, or confronting someone who hurt us are all moments that require a brave decision. The rule gives you a push to say the word you fear or to start a conversation you were afraid of. With each time you face your fear, you will discover that most of what you were afraid of was not worth all that anxiety. The rule here is not just a tool for action, but a means to build new courage within you. Each time you prepare and act, you prove to yourself that you are able to confront what you thought was bigger than you. With repeated experience, these small actions turn into a solid foundation for a more steadfast and stronger personality. Here, the natural question arises: if courage is actually built, how can we transform these small actions into solid, unshakable self-confidence? This is what we will discover in the next chapter: how to build self-confidence. Chapter 5: How to build self-confidence. Many think that self-confidence is a feeling that is born suddenly, or a gift that some people receive and not others, but the truth is completely different. Confidence is not a feeling, or rather a result, that is built through small actions repeated every day until they turn into an inner certainty that you are capable and worthy of what you want to achieve. The 5-second rule gives you a practical way to build this confidence. How? Simply put, every time you use the rule to take action despite your hesitation, you accumulate a small achievement in your account. These achievements may seem simple, such as completing a task, starting an exercise, or answering a call, but with time they turn into living proof that reminds you that you are a person capable of action. True confidence doesn't come from positive words alone, but from experience. When you count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and start, you are putting yourself in the arena of action instead of waiting. Every action, no matter how small, is a brick in the wall of confidence. These small actions connect together to create a strong sense of ability to face bigger challenges. Look at athletes, for example. They weren't born with the confidence that would enable them to face major competitions. Rather, they built it through daily training, taking small steps that they adhered to despite fatigue and boredom. Or look at inspirational speakers. Most of them weren't brave from the beginning, but they repeated the experience over and over again, and with each step, their confidence increased. Even if you contemplate your life, you will find that any situation in which you felt confident didn't come from nowhere, but from repeated attempts. When you succeeded in an exam, accomplished a difficult task, or faced a situation that you feared, you gained new confidence. All of that was the result of actions, not just feelings. The beautiful thing is that the 5-second rule shortens the path for you. It doesn't give you confidence directly, but it puts you on the right path. The path of experience and action, and every time you repeat this pattern, confidence turns from a vague idea into a tangible reality that you live and feel. But there is another challenge that stands in the way of confidence: your mind itself. Your inner thoughts may destroy what you build if you do not learn how to manage them. What is the benefit of taking courageous steps if the voice of doubt and fear continues to control your thinking? Here we need to move to the next stage, controlling the mind to the opposite dot. This is what we will discover in Chapter 6. Chapter 6. Mind Control for the Reverse. Your mind is an amazing tool, but at the same time, it may be your prison. Most people think that they think freely, while the truth is that their minds are the ones that think for them and direct them where fear, anxiety, and doubt. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain stuck is not in intelligence. Rather, in the ability to control the mind instead of it controlling you. There are 3 levels that we must understand: thinking, feeling, and action. Thinking generates thoughts, and feelings are affected by those thoughts, but action is what creates reality. The problem is that most of us stop at thinking and feeling and wait until we feel ready before we act. But the truth is that feeling changes in action, not the opposite. The more you allow yourself to overthink, the stronger the doubts inside you become. Your mind begins to draw the worst scenarios, convincing you that failure is certain or that the danger is great. Here comes the 5-second rule as a stop button for this flood. The countdown cuts the circle of negative thinking and throws you directly into action before hesitation takes over. When you move quickly, you are giving your mind a new lesson. I don't listen to my excuses, I act. And with the repetition of this pattern, the mind itself begins to change. It is like training a muscle. Every time you force yourself to act instead of overthinking, you reprogram your brain to focus on the results of fears. Take, for example, a person who is afraid of speaking in front of others. If he listens to his mind, he will always run away. But if he uses the rule and stands up to speak despite his fear, his mind will learn with time that the situation is not as dangerous as he imagined. This is how the mind is reshaped by experience, not by waiting. Mind control means knowing that negative thoughts will not disappear completely, but they will not lead your life. They will keep appearing, but your decision to move despite them will make them just background noise, not an obstacle in the way. The power is not in eliminating fear, but in actually overcoming it. With this transformation, you will discover that you have a great tool to build something bigger, new habits, because controlling the moment of decision is the first key to any habit you want to instill in your life. This is what we will dive into in the next chapter. Chapter 7. Launching new habits. Life is nothing but the sum of our habits. What you do daily, not what you do sometimes, is what creates your personality and your future. But the problem is that changing habits often seems like a heavy task. We decide to exercise, reduce our phone use, or stop smoking, then we back down after a few days. Why? Because the mind loves its habit and resists any change that takes it out of its comfort zone. Here the power of the 5-second rule is revealed. It does not require a complex plan or supernatural power, but a small moment of decision. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In these seconds, you can stop the bad habit before it controls you, or start a new habit before procrastination intervenes. Take the example of the phone. How many times did you tell yourself that I will check it for just 1 minute, then it was lost for half an hour or more? The rule gives you a moment to stop when you reach for the phone unconsciously. Use the countdown and withdraw your hand. This is the simple decision. This is the beginning of regaining control of your time and focus. Smoking is another example. The desire comes suddenly and pushes you to repeat the habit. But if you use the rule, you will create a gap between the desire and the action. These seconds may seem short, but they allow you to choose instead of being swept away. And with each time you triumph over the momentary impulse, the power of the old habit weakens. Even sleep can be improved with the rule. Instead of staying up without end in front of the screen, decide 5, 4, 3, 1 second and turn off the devices. The mind will protest and say 5 more minutes, but quick action cuts off its argument. With repetition, you will notice that your sleep has become deeper and better, and that your morning has become more active. Similarly, you can build healthy habits, starting a short exercise instead of procrastinating, opening a book and reading a few pages instead of browsing randomly, choosing a healthy meal instead of giving in to fast food. The new habit, do not start with a great step, with a small moment of decision. Thus, the rule turns into a key that opens the doors of daily change for you. With every small habit you adopt, you will discover that you have become more in control, more energetic, and more clear. This control over habits is the basis for improving another area that is no less important: productivity. How can the rule help you accomplish more with less hesitation? This is what we will see in Chapter 8. Improving productivity. Chapter 8. Improving productivity. Procrastination is not a weakness in character, as some believe, but rather a mental habit to escape pressure or from tasks that seem complicated. You tell yourself, I will start later. But this. The next turns into hours, days, and maybe weeks, and the result is that tasks accumulate, stress increases, and opportunities are lost. Here comes the role of the 5-second rule as a practical tool to break the cycle of procrastination. When you sit in front of a difficult task and feel a desire to postpone it, start the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then move directly towards the first small step. Do not think about finishing the entire project, just focus on the beginning. This simple moment breaks the psychological barrier and opens the way for you to accomplish the rest. Even in meetings, the rule can change the course of things. Perhaps you sit and you have an important idea, but you hesitate to present it for fear of criticism. Use the rule and give yourself 5 seconds to speak before your mind intervenes with objections. You will often discover that your small courage opens the door to a fruitful dialogue and may change the direction of the entire work. As for time management, the rule prevents you from slipping into secondary activities. When you find yourself opening email without a goal or switching between tasks randomly, use the countdown and immediately return to the most important priority. It is a simple way to train your mind to commit to what achieves results instead of running away to what is easy and unnecessary. In completing projects, the rule frees you from waiting for the perfect mood or the right time. The truth is that perfection is an illusion, and that achievement only happens by starting. Every time you say, "I will start now," and you actually move, you get a step closer to completing what you started. With repetition, you become a person known for achievement, not procrastination. One of the most beautiful things about the rule is that it transforms you from someone who contemplates a lot and postpones to someone who chooses to move now. With the passage of time, you will notice that your productivity not only improves but doubles, because the moments that you were killing with hesitation and waiting are now invested in actual work and action. But there is another area that is no less important than productivity, and it is an area that requires a special kind of courage: human relations. No matter how many achievements you achieve, you will still need social courage to get close to people, to say what you feel, and to face difficult situations honestly. This is what we will explore together in Chapter 9, Relationships and Social Courage. Chapter 9, Relationships and Social Courage. Human relationships are among the most difficult areas of life. Communicating with others requires courage no less than the courage to make decisions at work or face personal fears. Many people prefer silence, waiting, or distancing to avoid confrontation, but this choice kills opportunities and keeps connections weak and superficial. Here the power of the 5-second rule appears. The rule gives you a small moment to act before fear or anxiety takes over. 5 seconds to open an honest conversation, to confess your feelings, or even to ask for an apology that you were afraid to say. Acting in the moment is what makes relationships real and lasting, not just temporary interactions. Take a simple example. A friend is angry with you, or a family member feels let down. Usually you'd avoid confrontation and say, "I'll talk later," but procrastination only exacerbates the problem. Counting down from 5 to 1 and then starting with the first word breaks the fear barrier and opens the door to honest and transparent dialogue, even in simple daily situations, such as expressing gratitude or praise. The rule works. How many times have you felt the need to say thank you or "I appreciate your efforts," but hesitation made you back down? 5 seconds are enough to choose to express it, so you plant trust and love in others and build a relationship based on frankness and honesty. The same applies to apologies. We often postpone apologies for fear of rejection or embarrassment, but the countdown pushes you to confront and gives you a chance to fix what was spoiled by words or actions. Every time you move with this boldness, relationships become stronger and deeper. The rule teaches you that silence is not always the best option. Early action, even with a simple motive, makes a difference. Boldness in relationships is not a privilege that a person is born with, but a skill that can be trained daily in just 5 seconds, so it turns into a natural behavior in your life. Although strong relationships give you a sense of security and support, there is another aspect of your life that also requires daily courage and an immediate decision: health and energy. Maintaining your body and mind directly linked to your ability to move and make small, correct decisions every day. This is what we will explore in the next chapter: health and energy. Chapter 10: Health and Energy. The body is the tool on which all your ambitions and all your achievements depend, but we often find ourselves neglecting to take care of it. We postpone exercise, eat without a regime, or allow laziness to control our hours. In these moments, the power of the 5-second rule is revealed. When you feel lazy or sluggish, do not wait for motivation or enthusiasm to visit you. Instead, use the countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and start. Simply standing up, putting on your running shoes, or opening the training page is often enough to get you moving and overcome the feeling of laziness. Even daily exercise does not require long hours or extraordinary effort. A small step, constant repetition, and an immediate decision are all sufficient to turn into a healthy habit. The rule gives you the spark you need to start, so you find yourself continuing without much effort. The same applies to diet. The moment of buying, preparing, or choosing a healthy meal requires a quick decision before moving on to easier options. 5 seconds may seem small, but the difference between committing to the right choice and slipping into an unhealthy habit. True strength comes from consistent commitment, not from temporary bursts of energy. Every time you use the rule to overcome laziness, you build within yourself the ability to control your body and prove to yourself that you are able to move despite all internal resistance. Even the mind needs energy, just as the body needs physical activity. Proper nutrition and regular sleep are all factors that enhance the ability to think clearly and make quick decisions. Here, the effect of the rule on mental and physical health appears. Move now, invest your energy, and take off. With your control over your body and the energy of your day, another challenge appears, awaiting anxiety and fear. Even with good health and high energy, those internal fears remain able to slow you down unless you learn how to overcome them in just 5 seconds. This is what we will see in the next chapter. Overcoming anxiety and fear. Chapter 11. Overcoming anxiety and fear. Anxiety and fear are a natural part of our lives, but they often become an obstacle to achieving goals and personal progress. Moments of hesitation, fear of failure, or tension before facing an important situation are all daily experiences that everyone faces. Here, the power of the 5-second rule appears as a tool to control your emotions instead of letting them control you. When you feel a wave of anxiety rising, use the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This countdown creates a small gap between the feeling of anxiety and the action. Just 5 seconds is enough to break the negative loop in your mind and give you the opportunity to make a conscious decision instead of letting stress control your behavior. Controlling emotional reactions begins with this small moment. Instead of reacting, retreating, or postponing, choose to take action. Early action reduces the power of emotion and gives you a sense of control over the situation instead of being a prisoner of your fear or stress. You can apply the rule in many situations. Before giving a speech in front of an audience, before sending a sensitive message, or before dealing with a difficult situation at work or home. The countdown pushes you to act before anxiety takes over, transforming the moment from a threat into an opportunity to act consciously. Another practical exercise: when you feel stressed, start with a simple movement immediately after the countdown, such as taking a deep breath, getting up from your seat, or starting a small task. This small step breaks the mental block and redirects your focus from stress to action. With repetition, you will find that the rule not only helps you overcome anxiety in the present moment, but also retrains your brain to respond calmly and rationally to any similar situation in the future. Emotions become a mere signal, not an obstacle preventing you from taking action. By controlling anxiety and fear, the most important stage of true personal transformation begins. Big change in your life does not come only from thoughts or desires, but from the ability to confront your fears and take the right actions, no matter the circumstances. This is what we will explore in the next chapter: personal transformation. Chapter 12. Personal transformation. Personal transformation is not a huge event that happens overnight. Rather, it is the result of thousands of small moments in which you choose to act instead of waiting to say yes to the challenge instead of saying later. The 5-second rule is the key that turns these small moments into big changes. Every small movement you make after the countdown is a step toward a different person. Someone who is stronger, more confident, and more able to control his life. What seems at first very simple, getting out of bed, starting a project, saying a difficult word, can be the starting point for a series of changes. Deep in your life, there are countless stories of people who use this rule to completely change the course of their lives. A man started walking just 5 minutes a day, and after months, he became an active runner, participates in races, and feels unprecedented energy and vitality. A woman used countdown timers to overcome her fear of public speaking and found herself giving workshops and inspiring others with her courage. The secret lies in the concept of the hidden power of the first moment. This moment, when you choose to act before hesitation and fear take over, holds an unexpected power of change. It is the moment when the decision meets the action and the ideas turn into a tangible reality. Every time you choose the countdown and then the action, you plant a small seed of change. Over time, these seeds gather to become a strong tree whose shade extends over all aspects of your life. Health, productive relationships, self-confidence, and daily courage. The amazing thing is that transformation does not require a complex plan, superpower, or perfect preparation. All you need is one decision, 5 seconds, and a small action. This is the miracle. A single moment, but it is capable of redirecting your entire life if used consciously and persistently. In the end, this small moment opens the door for you to the final chapter. Living boldly every day, where you will discover how a simple rule can be transformed into a lifestyle that makes every day an opportunity to be the best version of yourself, to act courageously, and to achieve what you thought was impossible. Before we conclude this audiobook, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive every new audiobook. The Audiobook magazine channel is growing and developing thanks to you. Be a member of a community that loves reading and self-development. Chapter 13. Living boldly every day. Life is short, and every moment we waste in hesitation is an opportunity we did not seize. The 5-second rule is not just a tool to face the moment, but it can become an entire lifestyle. When you make the countdown part of your day, you start making decisions quickly and acting bravely before fear or procrastination stops you. Daily boldness is not a single action, but a series of small actions that translate into a more fulfilling life. Getting up in the morning, facing a difficult conversation, starting a postponed task, or saying a sincere word to an important person in your life. All of these moments create a sense of ability and control. The secret to this boldness is simplicity. Only 5 seconds between thought and action. Do not wait for the perfect state or absolute courage. You are only one moment away from making a decision and giving yourself the opportunity to become the person you want to be. Living boldly also means breaking free from the psychological restrictions that have always tried to control your life. Fear, anxiety, procrastination, self-doubt. They all become tools for learning discipline and action instead of being obstacles every time. Use the rule and you will become more liberated and gain a greater ability to face life with confidence. Over time, you will discover something wonderful. Daily courage turns into a habit. Self-confidence becomes part of your identity, and positive energy is transferred to all areas of your life. Every quick decision, every action taken in 5 seconds builds a stronger version of you. A version that acts instead of hesitating and influences instead of waiting for the final and clear message. You are 5 seconds away from a different life. Only 5 seconds are enough for you to start making the decision that changes your day, your week, and maybe your entire life. Don't worry about perfection, just move and make the decision now. Living boldly every day is not a distant dream, but a lifestyle available to everyone. A simple decision, quick action, and daily courage are your tools. When you use them, you serve them every day. Your life becomes full of achievement, growth, and true freedom. Try it, and you will find that every day has become an opportunity to be the best version of yourself. We hope from the bottom of our hearts that the Audiobook magazine has left a good impact on your lives and that it helps you on the path to understanding and maturity. Change is for the better. We always strive to provide you with useful content that is close to your hearts. We ask God to make it sincere for His sake. Please remember us in your prayers, as through your prayers we draw the strength to continue and give.